Hello, everybody. Welcome back to End of the Internet. Your last stop before that dark little part of the web that no one likes to talk about. Last night, I went and saw Victor Frankenstein. Uh, it was interesting. It stars uh, Professor Xavier, James McAvoy, and Harry Potter, uh, Daniel Radcliffe. They play Victor Frankenstein and Igor, respectively. And they both did a really good job. Yeah, sure, Frankenstein pretty much just... I was making jokes that he was Professor Xavier. But Daniel Radcliffe does a really good job as playing Igor. They do some interesting stuff with the character. So, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. It starts off with being narrated by Igor. It's basically... it's all told from Igor's point of view. And they kind of expand upon his backstory more. It's been a long time since I've read the book, but I don't think they really said anything. Was Igor even in the book? Anyways, Igor is a slave, basically, in the circus. But he's a brilliant medical person. He self-taught medicine, all that kind of stuff. I didn't really understand why somebody who was the circus doctor would be treated so poorly by the rest of the circus, but maybe 18th century London has different logic. All this changes, though, when Victor Frankenstein comes to the circus. And this trapeze artist that Igor is obsessing over and stalking falls and hurts herself. And Frankenstein sees that him and Igor fix her. And, Igor pops a bone back into place with using Frankenstein's wristwatch. So Frankenstein breaks Igor out of the circus, which at this time Igor isn't called Igor. He doesn't actually even have a name. So we'll get more to that later. So they break out of the circus, and we get a little action scene of them running and being chased by circus people trying to catch the Hunchback and Frankenstein. But of course they escape. And these guys are really, I was sitting there watching it and I'm like, wow, they're going all out. There's knife throwers throwing knives at him, a dude that looked like a rat with a shotgun. This guy's supposed to be, the whole thing is they don't want to lose the money, the property, so they're going to shoot him? Anyways, they escape and get to Frankenstein's home. And Frankenstein tells Igor, hey, I need to do something real fast. And it's gonna hurt. Basically, Igor wasn't a hunchback. he just had like this really gnarly cyst. So Frankenstein drains the fluid from this cyst, and then like chiropractors Igor's back into being straight and puts a back brace on him, and hey, you're normal now. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see Daniel Radcliffe going around this entire movie all hunched over. Like, it was interesting. But nope, they make him normal looking. So you got normal, attractive Daniel Radcliffe and normal, attractive James McAvoy. Hollywood. So anyways, Frankenstein tells Igor that Victor has a roommate that's never there because he's got a big morpheum. There we go. Gotta talk correctly. Problem, and that he's never around, so Hunchback, or former Hunchback, is now Igor. Hence the name. That's the origin of Igor's name. So Frankenstein pops on downstairs and is doing something. Igor has the run of the house. The next morning, Igor goes to try to find the girl that broke her arm, and he does some more doctor crap while he's there. We also get introduced to the villain of the movie, which is a detective who puts a lot of faith into faith. The whole storyline with him kind of made the movie just pretty much which is better, science or religion? Which, okay, it worked for it, I guess. So Frankenstein and Igor start working. Frankenstein bringing up body parts, because Frankenstein has figured out, oh hey, look at this cool side, and he makes eyes move, like these disembodied eyes move around. And so he starts bringing up all these body parts to Igor to do work on, and then he reveals to Igor the culmination of their experiment, Gordon, the reconstituted chimp. Frankenstein says at one point, it's mostly a chimp. Because he's been stealing body parts from zoos and veterinary clinics and things like that. And the cops are after him. Or, well, trying to investigate the crimes. That's why the cop, like, instantly goes, Because Frankenstein, when he was stealing, or when he was rescuing Igor, he drops a bag that contained a tiger paw that he had cut off from a dead tiger earlier that day. So Frankenstein and Igor's experiment works, and they bring the monkey back to life. So instantly, Vic decides, we're going to the college, and I'm announcing my discovery. I can bring life back. I think they should have done some more beta testing first, because when they go to the college and zap, which Igor invites his girlfriend, she's all like, "Oh, hey, you're normal looking now. Let's date." So, she's there, and like 6 other people that seem bored as hell are at the experiment. Frankenstein is portrayed as very socially inept, but brilliant. So, think Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. So they try to bring the monkey back to life. Doesn't really work too well, but he keeps zapping him, and it finally works, and the monkey wakes up. And then instantly goes about destroying everything and attacking people and generally rampaging. Because, monkey. If you were dead and got zapped back to life, wouldn't you attack people? But there's one rich guy that decides, hey, I want to finance this. So he starts financing them, all while the cop is continuing investigating stuff. And it's purely not for their breaking the law, their grave robbing, anything like that. No, it's because religion. Like that's the cop's whole motivation. It doesn't matter if they're breaking the law. In this cop's brain, he goes, they're violating God's law, so they're bad. It was very, very heavy-handed on the which is better, science or religion. Which, okay, yeah, kind of works. So since the cops are hot on their trail and they actually try to storm Frankenstein's place, which leads to a fight scene between the bad guy, who technically is only doing his job. I mean, it is. They're breaking the law and he's a cop. Technically, the bad guy is only doing his job, which makes him the bad guy. And our heroes are breaking the law, which makes them bad guys. They get into a fight, and the cop's hand gets, like, crushed completely in a big wheel, and Frankenstein and Igor shag ass out of there. And the rich guy decides to put him up in a castle in Scotland. Now, Igor at this point is having some issues. Him and Frankenstein have an argument, and Igor goes, toss off, and says, I'm out. Bad decision. This rich guy decides, well, since you're not part of our group, we're going to throw you in the Thames. So he ties Igor up and has some guys chunk him in the river, which Igor escapes from, and is nursed back to health by his girlfriend. He then goes on an expedition to track down Victor, and they come to the castle and find that a whole bunch of people are set up, lab, all sorts of stuff, and they're about to bring to life a human. Now, I know what you're thinking. Victor Frankenstein should be about to bring to life a person. Oh no, this was a beta test, basically. He calls this one Prometheus. And it's basically handled like this is his original attempt at bringing the monster from the book Frankenstein to life. It works. The creature comes to life, but is like dumb. It can't speak. It can't really do anything. The cop shows up and tries to arrest him, but decides to shoot the monster, which pisses it off royally, and it starts rampaging. So then Frankenstein and Igor fight the thing. Frankenstein ends up killing it. They did interesting. They were like, okay, we gotta make it really big to survive. So they decide, since it's so large, they gave the creature 2 sets of lungs and 2 hearts. Let's give them let's give the big monster extra parts of sure, nothing bad's going to happen. So the movie ends with Frankenstein sending a letter to Igor telling him he's his own man now. But one day in the future, he may call on Igor again to come and resume their experiments, thus setting up the book and Frankenstein's monster and all that. So yeah, that was Victor Frankenstein. They did a lot of jokes. I was very happy at the fact that at one point, Igor's girlfriend, when she meets Frankenstein, she goes, I'm losing... She calls him Frankenstein. And Victor goes, it's Frankenstein. I was hoping from the start of the movie that they were going to make a young Frankenstein joke, and I wasn't disappointed. They also seemed to really like doing the joke that Frankenstein's name would be forgotten. Like, they really liked doing that joke. It turns out the whole reason why Frankenstein's trying to make life is because his brother died. But then when he sees the monster, he's like, oh, I screwed up. But yeah, overall, it was a lot better movie than I thought it was going to be. Like, I walked into the theater and was expecting a very crappy movie. Like, Frankenstein level crappy movie. But it was actually decent. Like I said, the only real conflict in the movie was between the police officer and Frankenstein and Igor, and it was the religion versus science conflict. But otherwise, it was a good movie. Well acted by, McAvoy and Radcliffe both are great actors, so of course they did a good job. And otherwise, I don't really have much bad to say about it. There was a few plot holes, and the cop was a little hammy, in my opinion, but I can't really complain about the movie. That if you want a fun little addition to the Frankenstein story, it's not bad. I think the monster could have looked a little cooler. Like, the chimp was all cool, badass looking. But the human monster was basically a guy. So yeah, don't know. I don't know if they'll do a sequel or anything. It wasn't made by the same studio, so it can't be part of the Universal reboot that Dracula Untold is part of. So we'll wait to see if they do anything more of it. But yeah, overall, Victor Frankenstein was a decent movie. You probably won't have time because I think its run in theaters are almost over, but Redbox and Netflix, definitely. Well, for End of the Internet, I am Xander. Thanks for watching, and I will see you back next time.